And like always, we're back. My name is Charbel Milan. Today we got
Rizzo, the manager. You can
We
call me
got-
Rizzo today.
Rizzo, the manager. All right, Rizzo, just to get you up to speed, just like we do everyone else, this is a timeshare, the one and only podcast where people are coming for positive reinforcement. And the only way we can do that is by having people like yourself on. People who are out here innovating, finding a way, finding a space, and ultimately making it happen. So if you just want to take a moment, get people up to speed, let them know a couple things about yourself that they should know.
Heard that. My name is Rizzo. At least that's what I go by. My actual government. Off the record, I guess. It's Frank Massaquoi. I'm an Atlanta native. I'm 27 years old. My interests are fashion, music, and art. I think it's all culturally, whatever, together. So that's my gist. And I think this year I'm really more so focused on introducing FTB, which is a clothing line I've been working on for a couple years. It's basically a brand that incorporates all creatives from all types. So if you're like a painter, if you're a carpenter, you're a podcaster, whatever you do, I just want to have a brand that represents everybody that's trying to like do their own thing and stick with it. So I admire that. And the slogan is "The world at your fingertips." That'll probably make more sense once you guys see the logo. So
Bet.
that's what I'm on.
Hell yeah, man. Well, this is Atlanta. This is no better place to be a producer, to be a fashion designer, to be creative ultimately, right?
For sure.
So you mentioned FTB. That's the brand, right?
Yeah.
So what exactly is FTB? Where did the name come from? How did that get started?
So funny thing was I was in a weird place in life. Maybe not a weird place. I was just going through rough patches. Probably like 2019, 20. I was always partying. I was like back and forth spring break, the good old stuff. Just trying to, I guess in a sense, find myself. And I had this particular year, I moved to Panama for the whole season. So from about February to like May, maybe.
In Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Panama
not
City.
Panama. Yeah, I wish. But so I get out there. A lot of crazy things happen, which kind of like tested my integrity and like, kind of helped on my, I would say, people skills and how to get in the door with certain things. And long story short, I was on probation here in Atlanta. And my uncle's a judge, so he had told me to go down there, maybe run up some money, come back, pay off my probation. Because, it's a system, it's all about dollars at the end of the day. So I came back. I didn't end up having enough funds. Cool, man. Appreciate
There
you.
you go. Hell yeah. I want to pick it all up.
And so I got locked up, and while I'm in there, I'm brainstorming. I've been kind of had the concept in my head, and it didn't come to life until my bunkmate had drew it on like a little piece of paper. It's like a little hand, and it's got a Rubik's Cube as far as like a basketball kind of thing, but the Rubik's Cube's got the print of the globe on it, and so I made it that way because I feel like the world's a very intricate place, and a Rubik's Cube's a very like intricate thing, to me at least. And so that's the concept of that. I think the world's really cool. You never know where you'll land and who you'll meet and how that'll have a significant change in your life. And so that's kind of what I stand for as I've gotten to this point. So that's kind of FTB in a whole nutshell.
Okay, so when you were arrested, man, when you were locked up, was there something about not being able to leave, not being able to, fix what you thought, well, not what you did wrong, but whatever they thought you did wrong? Was there something about being necessarily captive that made you realize that I gotta check my plan out again. I got to really dive deep into my creativeness, into all the skills that I have, and ultimately get out of here and never come back?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I think the beauty of that is while I was in there, I think mentally I felt the most free, because
Really?
Yeah, it was in a sense of where like I had to train my brain to where I was like, this is only temporary. And that's a lot of things in life. I think people go through phases where something traumatic happens. So for me, I guess we'll say it was jail. But also like, peeking out my window and seeing the sunlight, there, I'd be like, there's still more, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, God forbid for the ones doing life or whatever the case is, but you know what I'm saying? It's more, my whole point being, your perspective on things is the biggest, your mental is first and then everything else comes. So I felt like in there, I learned a lot more about the outside world. For example, in jail, they got this thing called 2-for-1, right? So like you get in there and you pretty much don't have any money on your books. There's like a week and a half process before you can even get in the system and all that. So you're pretty much starving. You do breakfast at 10, breakfast at 4 a.m., a lunch at 10, and then dinner at 4. So for a grown man and for what they feed, you're not going to survive. So luckily it was my first time in there. Luckily I had some people take me under their wing, but 2-for-1 is basically like, you come in, let's say you had all the goodies, you had the noodles and the donuts and all that kind of shit, coffee. So you'd give me one and be like, y'all let you survive till you get store, till you make your money or whatever on your books. And then I would owe you 2 for every one you gave me. Okay. And that concept alone kind of just showed me like, in the outside world, it's like kind of, any type of hustle, with whatever you're doing, in a sense, you're trying to build relationships and somebody's giving you an opportunity or something and you're giving back that and some, in a sense, maybe building value. And so those principles kind of always kind of keep me on a very narrow path when I'm like trying to reach out to somebody as far as like collaborations with FTB. I'd like to reach out to a lot of designers and do some collabs. I think would be dope. But also when I get like in the frame to create or something like that, I always think, how do I add value to somebody? Because they already have the platform. And then also, if I was in their position, you know what I mean? Like,
I'd be looking for value
as well.
So when you were in there, you mentioned perspectives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think perspective is a very important thing.
Right.
Because, we are a combination of everything we've experienced. Our perception is our reality. At least that's what I think.
Right.
When you were in jail, whatever the situation was, whoever you were around, what were some of the different personalities that you noticed? And like by personalities, I mean, what were some of the personalities that you noticed weren't working for people? Or the fuck am I even saying?
Yeah.
What were some of the perspectives that people had on the situation that weren't working for them, that, that kept them frustrated, kept them filled with anxiety, versus the people who had the proper perspective and were just like, okay, kind of like you. Okay, I'm just doing my time. I'm letting this be a moment for me to ultimately expand my mind, get more creative, because like you said, you felt like your mind was more free because that's all you had to do is play with your mind.
Right.
So did you find some interesting perspectives, or was everyone kind of on the same page?
I did find some interesting perspectives. Interesting perspectives. I would say there's one guy who was an architect, and I think it was kind of cool. Like he was on papers, probation, to those who don't know what papers are. And so he had moved out to California, became an architect, became successful, had a whole family out there, and then still came back to finish his sentence because it was like something that was over his head. And so while he was in there, he was offering, classes and mentoring certain people. So I learned from that perspective. There was also perspective of guys who were maybe, street ties, mob ties, who would be like, say things like, hey, man, think of it from a macro standpoint. Would you sit in jail for 3 years for $20 million? You're going to come out knowing you got $20 million. So that perspective is a whole different side of the pendulum where I feel like, you kind of sit there and you're like, shit, 3 years, 365 days, then 60 some days, 70, and then you're like, you think about it and you're like, can I really knock it out? But, so I think that was interesting. And then there was a perspective of people who you just saw were, kind of like transitioning, like they still were trying to hold on to this pride or whatever, circumstance or situations that got them in there. And, you could tell that it wasn't going to work. They were always like trying to be the hard ass or whatever the case is, or going to the hole because they're like, I'm not eating this shit, throw the food on the table, go to the hole, solitary confinement 30 days, like just dumb shit. So, it's all where, like I said, it all comes down to perspective. And I think that is a very important thing when you talk about, like in the outside world, like whatever you're trying to do, your perspective's big, you never know. So for me, I just tried to look at all situations and see what was the best one or what made the most sense, and just, take what I could from it.
Hell yeah. On a side note, would you do 3 years for 20 mil?
Man, I've pondered that question so many times, bro. Like, I feel like, shit. I guess I'd have to say plead the fifth on that one, because I still got to think that one through. I mean, 3 years, it's just like you can't get the time back. It's almost like, for me, it's like I always say this thing where it's like energy can't be created nor destroyed. So in that sense, it's like, I try to focus only on positive shit or only put my energy through that, because it's like if somebody gets under my skin, the moment I go to retaliate, I've already lost the energy. Like I can't get it back. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes in a lot of situations, that's just a little bit of energy you needed to put towards something else that can throw you all the way off your game, So, I don't know. 3 years, damn. Some people be like, yeah, dude, 20 mil, 3 years. I mean, who the fuck are you kidding? I mean, it's only 3 years. You could do push-ups for 3 years, come out looking like Gucci Man, huh?
Right.
So, who knows?
They think he's a clone.
Right, exactly.
I don't even know. Maybe he's a clone. Fuck that. He's not a clone.
Right, he's not a clone.
Hell no.
3 years will do. 3 years will do a lot to you. That's, yeah. Would you Gucci Man the game, guys? That's what you... Would you go for 3 years and come back better than ever? Shit, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. So as far as, being in jail, working on FTB, just all the projects that you have in your life, and ultimately just the struggles that I know you faced, that we all faced, what are some of the things that keep you inspired? Because the people that are coming to this channel, man, there's a group of people out there who are coming, to laugh at it. And it's kind of funny because I kind of would too. But some of the shit I say is dumb as fuck, but it's inspiring. But at the same time, there's a group of people, man, who actually take what they need to from it and they're incorporating it in their daily life. And the reason I say that is because I've talked to some of these people. That's what fuels my fire, knowing that I'm touching personal people. And I love it. I love when people reach out. I love being able to collaborate. And, anyone that comes to listen to this channel, we like to refer to ourselves as intellectual collaborators. So just as far, kind of a general question, but still, through some of the trials and tribulations, through all the things that you've gone through, what keeps you inspired ultimately?
Inspiration. So, for me, like people I look up to is like Diddy.
Diddy's a good one.
Ray Diallo, who's his mentor. Richard Branson, he started Virgin. I like macro guys. Elon Musk, like just you see something, you see a lane, you stick with it, and then you provide a platform that people can actually stand on. You become a foundation in any lane. So I really appreciate that. And the list goes on. But more so, what keeps me inspired, I would say maybe on a day-to-day, like lately I've been going to like Barnes & Nobles. I'll flip through magazines and I'll see fashion mags and be like, oh, I could recreate that, or damn, I could, I can look all the editors. Here's a key tip. I think if people out there, you're trying to reach out to people, like if you go to Barnes & Nobles, you go to the magazine section, there's always editors and, producers and all that kind of stuff. They list them all there, So I just snapshot the emails and then I just send them emails directly, and try to reach out and try to build from there.
That's a smart idea.
Yeah.
Have some of those been successful?
Some, you get some feedback. Some will be like, you need to change your approach. So it's all a learning curve in the sense. So I love that. And then also like on the day-to-day, I would say between Gary V and for those who don't know, Gary Vaynerchuk,
he goes hard.
He goes hard as hell. He's now he's becoming like a internet sensation. But the coolest thing I think he said to me, or in general, we'll say, was that he was like, I've been doing business, like I do business. That's what I'm good at. I'm good at building business. I'm not some like financial guru, whatever. He's like, I worked for my dad's liquor store for 10, 15 years, took it from 3 million to 60 million in about an 8-year span. And then I bought my company, Vaynerchuk Media, which does like, scales of like Super Bowl commercials and all that other cool shit. So, and those are the kind of things that keep me motivated. It's like, those days when you have like doubt or when you're trying to, you get like a creator's block, I'll call it. You feel just down or you might lose a family member or something like that. Like his principles for me kind of keep me grounded, where it's just like, there's no easier way. You just got to do it. You just got to Nike this shit. Like, Rome wasn't built in a night. Same shit, success doesn't happen overnight, but you keep 10 toes down, as Future would say. Before you know it, you look up, might have been 4 or 5 years, but then you'll be like, damn, it'll go back in a blink for what I think. As I get older, I think the time moves faster. And I think people get kind of caught up in, like I was texting somebody the other day and they're like, yo, I feel like the pressures of like, time and everything. I got to like choose a career and this and that. And like, Gary makes it very clear. He's like, a lot of people, society has that pressure. Like somebody like Lamar Jackson, he just shattered records this whole season. He's doing great. Would you guess how old he is?
Yeah, let me go for it. 21.
22.
22. Not bad.
You know what I'm saying? When I think back, I'm 27 now. So it's like if I think back when I was 22, I'm in the NFL, you know, with a check. Shit, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm on my, like, maybe not my high horse, but it's just really not a lot that I'm willing to, you know, maybe I am moldable, God willing at that time, but I feel like, you know, people look at that and they're like, oh, I'm not doing the right thing, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. But I don't think they take into consideration the work and the ethic that took to get to that point. So as far as inspiration goes, like, yeah, man, I use like Instagram for me is like a virtual vision board is what I call it. You know, I don't get caught up in people's like clout and stuff. I just like see it. I'm like, damn, they going hard. Like I could go hard too, you know? It just keeps me boosted. So that's why I'm like glued to that. Or even TikTok. I think it's a very big way to get more organic followers or live or anything. So all that stuff keeps me inspired, really.
Damn, you mentioned two really good points. And one of them that I want to talk about is creative block, writer's block, singer's block, fucking podcaster's block, whatever your block is.
Yeah.
Do you think that when you do hit a wall, right? Do you think that people generally take that as a reason to give up the craft, which ultimately leads into the second thing I wanted to say that you mentioned? Mm-hmm. You might look back and it's been 3, 4, 5 years. So do you think that when people encounter, a restriction, they encounter an obstacle, they kind of drop the craft too soon and ultimately miss out on what was to come? Do you think that's the problem a lot of people have? Have you seen yourself have that problem?
For sure. I mean, the best way I've kind of been able to compartmentalize it down to where I understand it fully is kind of like the example that was brought to me was that when you go to plant something, you put the seed in the ground, you put the dirt, you water it. For at least a month or two, if not longer, you don't even see the fucking stem, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing. And then even when it does break, you know, threshold and hit the oxygen, it's a little baby stem. Doesn't even have leaves on it or no shit like that. So my thing is like, you know, it's that cliche concept of where you see the little memes where the dude's digging and he turns around, he gives up, but it's just like a couple more digs.
Yeah.
He's, you know, at the diamond mine or whatever. So, yeah, my whole thing on that is just like, that's how I break it down. Like, I'm like, dude, you want to, you know, we live in a microwavable generation where I do have down points when I see somebody pop up so fast. You know, you see somebody that's younger than you and you're like, fuck, like this dude just, you know, it looked like overnight.
Something
it's like
stupid too.
Yeah,
it's
you
usually
know?
some dumb shit that catches on.
Exactly. He's doing some like, I don't know, some fucking meme shit, or like, you know, he done popped off on Twitter and or a couple mixtapes on SoundCloud later. Now, you know, he's touring and shit. And then you know, so you could kind of get sidetracked. You know, you start thinking maybe it's not for me, maybe, you know, because this guy's 20 something, he already hit. But honestly, for some of the people I know and have met and been able to rub shoulders with, it's always been a grind, you know what I'm saying? And I think the work ethic that goes with it is also, it's also very, it's just more than more to one to none, if that makes any sense. Like, you know, people are like, I could do that and go hard, but it's like, are you really breaking it down? Like, are you giving every damn near second towards it? Or even if you can't, like, you got a 9 to 5, like currently I work at Amazon, but my goals is to learn what I can from Amazon and then, you know, put that into how do I boost small businesses? How do I like stay self-sufficient? How do I create residual incomes for myself to be able to take a breather and reassess, you know? And even in that process, that's the growth I'm talking about. That's the putting the seed in the ground and letting that bitch grow. You know what I mean? It's not gonna, I just know the way around it. You know what I mean? And so I think when you hit that wall, I encourage people maybe to take a moment and assess when you look back how long, you know, look at people that inspire you, you know, people that you look on Instagram or Facebook or whatever that you're like, damn, I wish I had that lifestyle. Reach out, you know what I mean? Be like, hey, so can you give me like an idea of what it takes on a day-to-day of what you do to make this happen, you know, to stunt in these cars, to pull up here and there. And I'm pretty sure they'll break it down. They'll be like, yeah, it's $30,000 to get that jet for 2 days and we had to fuel it. Also, when I got down, I had to pay for the Uber to get from there to the, you know, to the hotel. Hotel wasn't free.
Rental car place.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you start calculating all that shit down, and you're like, oh, shit, you know? Now you have to then think on a macro level and take a step back even further and now think of how do I make the right moves to be able to put myself in that position. So
Do you
For
think
sure.
the people that blow up overnight, the people that drop a couple mixtapes and make it, drop one fashion season closing line, they make it. Do you think that those people are kind of like the motivation that we think of? Well, at least I do. I think about every day because I'm like, shit, I could be one day away from that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe this person did it before me, but it's like kind of what you said earlier. You get to see that, oh, this is possible.
Right.
So not only am I inspired, but maybe I could be well, not a one-hit wonder. What is it called? What is it called? Not overnight. God, I feel like there's a really good word I'm missing. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You just blow up overnight. Do you think that like that's ultimately motivating in a way?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, perspective again. Like, you know, the fact that we're up here on this rooftop just vibing right now, like this is winning. You know what I'm saying? Another day above ground to me is like, you got, you know, Rick Ross always says, you know, every day is another opportunity to reach that goal, you know, and that always sticks with me. It's kind of like, shit, man, you know what I'm saying? Like yesterday you might have had a shit day, but today's here, so, you know, and you're not promised tomorrow. So, you know, you got to make the best of it today. So my whole thing is kind of like, yeah, man, for me, my perspective on it is, yeah, it fuels me. You know, I don't get caught up in like, damn, like sometimes I will admit, you know, we're all human. I'll be like, fuck, like what am I doing wrong? But that just encouraged me to reassess or, in a sense, be like, okay, I made these 20 mistakes, so now I know the next thing. Like, I already tried all this. It's kind of like the best one that I always use to keep myself going is Thomas Edison. I break it down. I'm like, back in the day, Thomas Edison was going around in a time where people were using fucking candlelight, just walking around like, you know, horses and buggy. And fucking Thomas Edison comes around. He's like, yo, I'm creating light. I'm about to make this thing the light bulb. And they're like, oh, my God, honey. Stay away from him. He's on that shit again. You know what I mean? Thomas is fucking, nope. Thomas is high. Don't look at him. Don't look at him, Sally. Thomas is on that shit again. He's talking about this fucking bulb, you know? And then 1,000 tries later, boom, light bulb. Now he's an overnight sensation. Now everybody's dick riding. Now everybody's like, oh my God, Thomas, dude, you remember the time you came to the house and you changed the buggy and I was telling you that I don't know about this light thing, but I kind of believe you, but I don't know. But I mean, kind of, sort of, because I mean, the way you blew the candle out, I don't know. I fuck with you. That's how it goes.
Way you blew the candle
yeah,
out.
You know, it's like,
it wasn't appealing.
Yeah. So it's that kind of concept, and I think, yeah, that's how I look at things. I'm like, well, you know, a lot of things that we take for granted, like cell phones or, you know, architecture and shit like that, like, you know, shit didn't happen overnight. You know what I mean? Like, somebody failed miserably a couple times. Some people even died. But lo and behold, here we are.
What would you say are some personal tips that you've acquired, that you've learned, and that ultimately you think you could share with other people? Obviously to, you know, keep them motivated, but just almost to save them time. Because I know, you know, we've all had challenges. You were talking about some earlier, and, you know, we'll get to more down the line. But
Right.
What are some tips that you learned? Like, not necessarily general tips, but like situational. You were
tips.
like, holy shit, this changed me.
What is it? Is it the 4 C's? I can't remember. Maybe 4 C's. Tips. I don't know. I'm trying to think of all of the like little things. Okay, tips for me that I've learned. Invest in writing your stuff down. A vision board for me when I was really on, I need to start a new one this year. But me and a friend a while back, a couple years ago, I used to do multi-level marketing, like Organo, Gold, Vima, all this shit. I used to try it. Finally found one that I felt like was dope, and it was World Adventures, and it was a timeshare thing. And you know, who doesn't want to travel, you know? But I realized in that sense, I wasn't selling the product anymore. I was selling lifestyle. I was selling like a feel.
Idea.
Yeah, you know. And that was the coolest part about that. So that tip I learned from there was always be transparent. You know, also content, not complacent. That's like my motto as far as C's go. Like, you know, waking up, being grateful that you're here, even though, you know, I don't know, you're sore from the gym, it's been a shit week, your cat died, I don't fucking know, you know what I mean? Right. You're content, but also, let's say if you were the one-hit wonder, or you were working up, you hit this point, now, like, if I gave you 10 million tomorrow, like, are you set? You know what I'm saying? Like, after taxes, and do you break all that kind of shit down? Like, are you just going to go ball out and go be in Bali and do all the festivals and smoke all the weed you can? And then once that's done, then what, you know?
Yeah, then what?
Yeah, so that's my whole thing. It's like being content, then being complacent. So, I mean, being content, not being complacent. So that's a big tip. And then the vision board, like writing down your goals, like, I break it down where I get this huge, like either whiteboard or like a bulletin board. I put 2 lines in it, and on the far left side is goals I'd like to do with like in a couple weeks to a month. And the middle will be like 1 month to 3 months, and then on the far side is like yearly. So that's a really dope one for me. And then also relationships. That's the most important. The saying where it's like it's not what you know till you know. In our day and age today, I feel like definitely who you know in a sense, because what you know is on Google. People ask me all the time, they're like, "Yo, I want to try to do that." Like, I'm trying to do this and that and the third. I'm like, fucking YouTube it, Google it, figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
It's all out there. It's so weird.
Yeah, like it's crazy how far we've come from a standpoint of where, like, I was watching the Gary V. Steve Harvey show just recently, and Steve was like, "Yeah, we had to go to the library, and I had to get the catalog card, and then hopefully when I got the book I wanted to learn about some shit, somebody ain't ripped my page out that I needed, And so I thought that was funny because he asked Gary, he's like, "What do you tell the new wave?" He's like, he's like, "I'm gonna spell it out for you. It's GOOGLE." Like, fucking dude, it's there. You know what I'm saying? You can find the weirdest shit. You can find all the smartest shit. I mean, it's all there. So, just staying at it. You know what I mean? Like, the relationships, like I was saying, is way more important because money comes and goes. But what I've learned is I've been lucky enough to have mentors and people that kind of take me under their wing or see that I got the sparkle in my eye. I'm inspired. I want to go hard or reach for higher heights. And 9 times out of 10, for all the people I know that are way successful that I've been able to rub elbows with, they're more like trying to help. That's like I think that's like the golden rule in a sense, like, or the secret, as some would say. You got the law of attraction, all that good stuff, but then even past that, like, you made $100 million tomorrow, like, what are you gonna do with all the money? You know what I'm saying? I think after a while, even, because we're all human, you go on the little splurge moment and you take some time to yourself, you visit some things, put your family on, and then you start to see that, as beautiful as it is, we still got a lot of work to do as a human race and a lot of things to fix. So I think I see a lot of people gravitating towards, how can I help? How can I make the next, error a little better? So pretty much.
So do you think being transparent is ultimately really important for a long-term relationship or a long-term connection, or just really anything that you're doing, whether you're starting a business or you have a clothing company or whatever it is? Do you think being transparent with your customer, your listener, your business partner, do you think that transparency is a big thing that people are missing because they want to have that edge, they want to be ahead of the competition, but they're not realizing that if you fear competition, you need to rethink your game plan?
Exactly.
Do you think that that's an issue people are having? And also, do you think transparency is key?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think when you keep it real, the truth will set you free. Simple as that. You keep it 100 with the people around you, especially ones you love, and you don't sugarcoat it because, excuse me, there's a lot of people. Business is business. There's a game. There's a leverage of trying to win, I guess, in a sense. But honestly, what I've learned is, like, the more transparent, the more people willing to do business with you. You got the customer care, you got the compassion, you got the consistency. You know what I'm saying? And you care. Those are the 4 C's that just came to me. So
So consistency, care,
compassion, customer service. Yeah, man.
Okay.
Once you care and you're consistent in your thing, like, that's being transparent. Consistency. It's like you go in, like, what did they just say? Eli Manning just retired the other day, like, I think yesterday or a week ago. I don't fucking know, but they were saying he was down as a quarterback that went 200 and some odd consecutive games. You know what I'm saying? You don't think he was getting binked up back there in the backfield? After every play, a little touch here, a little touch there from a fucking 200-300 pound defensive end or left tackle or whatever. He was consistent, and that's what makes greatness, and so that's being, to me, I think it's as transparent as you can get. Yeah, I'm hurt. Yeah, I took the ice bath. Yeah, I need a little massage here and there, but I'm gonna get out there. You know what I mean? And so I think initially, yeah, you know, you reach out and you try to build foundations to grow on. You have to have that transparency so people know what they're getting into, and then it also kind of boosts you to kind of know your game, know your shit. So when you step out in there, you're not really, like you say, worried about competition, because you're like, I'm gonna keep it 150 regardless. Like, you know what I'm saying? Either gonna get with me or, you know, get left. You know what I mean? Type deal. So.
Wow. So on that note of getting left, what kind of distractions have you faced as far as, not the whole jail thing, but
Right.
just on a day to day?
You know, like balancing, I think, personal life, wanting to have fun, wanting to experience things, and then also, you know, knowing what kind of work you got to put in, and what kind of work ethic it takes to be successful. I think those are kind of big, you know, distractions. You know, we all have these moments where we get lazy or fatigued, and you just want to chill and stuff, and you need that. You know, your body needs rest, you need recovery, but not being overzealous in it. I think taking the time to assess it, understand, like, yeah, I'm taking this moment. Okay, let's go over a couple things and try to get back to it. For me, that's been more or less my distractions. Also, like trying to, you know, having friendships and stuff, trying to mend that, trying to be in the scene, you know, as far as like I'm with art, I like music, fashion, like, you know, there's a lot of events. People are like, oh, I got an art show, I got this and that. You know, I'm like, well, when did I find the time to fucking do my art, do my stuff if I'm, you know, at everybody's event? So, you know, it's a level of balance there where I'm trying to work on focusing on that a little better, and again, you know, not be complacent. I can't really think of anything else. I mean, I guess, yeah, because that all falls in like partying, drugs, whatever you want to call it. You know, it's all distractions. Or to some, I would think like some people have a significant other, and then they're just like on top of each other, and they don't really have the time like to figure out what's working for them, or what's going to keep them on, for what can they bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got to be able to stand on these pillars to be able to make this foundation work, you know? So I think some people sometimes, what I've noticed, and even with myself, you know, lack in that department.
Damn, man. That's some good knowledge right there. So we're in Atlanta. Like,
Mhm.
we're in fucking Atlanta.
ATL, baby.
And you're involved in fashion. You're involved in creativity, innovation. What are some of the things that Atlanta primarily has brought you to your advantage that you didn't find in Panama, or have you lived anywhere else?
I moved to I was in Kentucky for private school,
Okay.
so that was cool. But yeah, besides that, it was a little boarding school situation. Been there. We did block schedules. I can't really say I lived. I mean, slept on some couches maybe. But yeah, like traveling like Fairfax, Maryland, Virginia, some cool times. But more or less, yeah, I've been here. But Atlanta for me has been people are really inspired me, like Chilio. Chilio loves you. I think he's pretty much a staple in Atlanta, like the Edgewood scene, double XL rep, and some people we've met from like A3C. Atlanta just has that kind of melting pot effect, you know, with the history from, you know, all the way back to like John Lewis, Dr. Martin Luther King, the greats, you know, as far as civil rights and all that kind of stuff. We've had the Olympics here, you know, and for it being the South where they kind of counted a lot of people out from, you know, if you look back in history, it's just come a long way. And I think with the LGBT community thriving as well, it's just a lot of different angles where, you know, you can come from anywhere where you might be shunned or don't feel accepted, and, you know, Atlanta will welcome you open arms in a sense, you know. I ain't telling y'all to go on the South Side. You know what I mean? So watch your back. No, I was kidding. But nah, yeah, there's definitely there's good and bad and everything, but definitely more good coming out of Atlanta. So that's what I appreciate most.
Do you think having a scene, having a space, having a place that you can go to find other people who are also being creative, and just to kind of get out there and network, do you think that that can kind of be a distraction as far as configuring your wants and your needs? Well, not configuring, but just kind of taking things that are honestly a want and turning them into a need, and
Right.
kind of not necessarily shooting for the wrong things, but just getting distracted as far as what you actually need to be doing. Like you said, getting creative versus getting caught up in the party scene, getting caught up in other people's work, getting caught up in all the pop-ups. Do you think that there's an issue people are having with inner city type of not energy, just the whole kind of scene that there's
Yeah.
so much to offer. Do you think that a want over a need starts to become an issue that's relevant?
Yeah, it's a that's a fine line to walk right there. Like I find myself like I was out in the scene. I moved to Buckhead. I was out here, staying in Buckhead for a little bit, and I caught myself going out a lot more. Just because it was so convenient. I was, bars were right around the corner from my house. I was right down the strip. Got the Buckhead shop right across the street from my condo. So, like trying to network and like meeting certain people. Like I love fashion, so I'd always be at like Moda 404 or a Tom. I go in there and try to like pick everybody's brain, but then in a sense they'd be like, "Well, come to this event, and then in the whole scheme of it, I'm like, I'm going out, I'm trying to get what I need in a sense, like the nourishment, the knowledge, to try to keep me going, but then also I wasn't really focusing or taking the time to be like, okay, I need to go find me a wholesale distributor. I need to figure out, how to how am I going to market this? You know what I'm saying? Like, do they do consignment, stuff like that? So it's all a balance, I think. Or even more so when you like go out to a scene, I've noticed like I've stepped off a scene for a time to kind of work on myself. And now as I'm coming back, I start to see the same faces that I seen a while. And then it keeps me like, oh shit, like, you're in this, you know what I mean? Like if you're not a part of how this thing operates, like you're just a part of the scene. Nothing wrong with that, but like I think there's more to life than the bar on the corner of Ponce. You know what I mean? So, I think about it, I'm like when you get caught in the scene, you're like, yeah, I'm going to such and such bar. Like I'm a regular there. Like you wanna go where everybody knows your name. Okay, that's cool, but I also get on Instagram and stuff, and I'm like, well, shit. Would I wake up? Do I want to wake up in Atlanta every day? Yes, it's beautiful, but do I also want to wake up in like Bali? Do I want to be in Tulum? You know what I'm saying? Am I trying to be in Thailand? I want to hit Tokyo and go meet some crazy distributors and like find some shit out about myself I didn't know. Yes. Do I want to go save the animals in Australia right now? Yes. Do I have the money to do it? Not necessarily. So, those are things that keep me like, how do I get involved? How do you become the clout and not, just consume it?
Okay, so a big industry here in Atlanta is music, and I know that music and fashion kind of go hand in hand.
For
So
sure.
have you kind of tried to dive into the music industry from the perspective of building connections so that ultimately you can have solid people repping your clothing brand, repping your product, your creativity, ultimately your art?
Yeah, for sure. So, reason I even leaned towards this was, so we both went to school to Mod Henry, other known as TheYungDragon, and his brother Amir, who is I Am Animal. So Amir is a producer, started like Street as X and worked his way through and doing pretty well right now. It's been just released a project with Sunny Digital. I have a title of holding management to Ahmad, TheYungDragon, but honestly, we work such in a team effort. I feel like he's just holding me accountable to like go harder for me, so we go hard for each other kind of thing. Because he basically, he'll cut the videos, he'll do everything. Like I'll film most of the time, but that's the one artist I'm working with, and so working with them, we've been able to reach out to certain platforms like JWise and Stankonia. I think we did A3C like 2 years ago. Got Wu-Tang to sign our posters, so that was really cool. Started a vintage company, the Good Gas Co., which is he patented this phrase. It's like it says the T-shirts say healthcare, and in the healthcare, the THC in healthcare is highlighted.
Oh shit!
And it's like you can't spell healthcare without THC, and so we use that slogan to kind of reach out to maybe how we could build on 5013s or reach out to certain courses. Maybe as cannabis becomes more legalized to the population, like maybe we'll be able to back like a course for Emory or Mercer or something like that, where kids can go and learn and figure out how to get involved in that. And then our whole team is pretty much, we represent independent records, and people I like the most coming out as far as music, like Umi the Goat, High Wavy, Apollo the God. These are all people you might not know, but yeah, all through independent playlist academy, some cool things. So as far as me personally, I think I've taken I've done some music here and there. I would like to take this year to maybe make some more. I'm not too gung ho on it, but that's how I got involved. With the music scene, a lot of people like from the Futures to the Fathers, Trinidad James. The list goes on. Like Edgewood, OG Macko, all that stuff. That's all like damn near right around the corner.
That guy, man, OG Macko.
He
was going hard.
Yeah, there's still. I think it's all about you come out in the industry, you see your lane, and then it's all how you market it, what you do with that. I'm not saying they didn't do the right thing, but there's components and certain people you need to keep in your camp, and just various things that I think the beautiful thing of it, like when I hear somebody be like, "Oh, that person fell off," just like you're like, "What happened to him?" Pretty sure he's in California right now, like feet up on a couch. He might not be like the hottest out, but he
still has a following.
Yeah, for me, I think the music industry is like a slot machine where you pull the lever, and when you hit your 777, that thing's raining coins. You know what I mean? So when you got the coins raining, that's when you got to use that leverage to look into other ventures. So for me, it's like if I was to hit a check tomorrow, let's say a couple mil or something, I'm going to invest in shit that's always going to be around, which is education, healthcare, fucking
real estate.
Yep, real estate. It's my next one, which I'm looking into working on this year as well. So, I'm trying to get my license. So my whole thing is like the fields that are proven, second to none. They're always going to be there. That's where you put your money in. Somebody like I can off the top, like Lil Yachty, first year came out, cleared 12 million. Like you ain't heard from him. You know what I'm saying? But he's did How High. Got a Netflix special. Like
he's
did
sponsored by so many. Yeah, he has a Netflix special.
Mm-hmm. How High 2.
How High 2?
Yeah, with DC Young Fly.
Damn. So is that like a pickup of the first movie?
Yeah.
What?
Pretty
Why
much.
am I late on this?
I don't know. I mean, I'm telling you, bro.
Yachty's a legend. See, on that note, that's just fucking amazing. Great segue. Lil Yachty's the GOAT. I fuck with him heavy.
Miles.
Who do you think, though, is having the biggest impact on the music industry in general? Because, America,
right?
Fuck Atlanta. I mean, not fuck Atlanta. I love Atlanta, but fuck Atlanta for now. America itself, bro. You got Northeast, you got the West Coast, you got the Southeast. Bro, everyone's popping.
I feel like, man, there's just so many. It goes uncontended. It's like, it's just, I mean, shit. Got me in a tongue twister. I think, okay, there's like the Kendricks, you got somebody like Kendrick Lamar who's probably making a big ruckus in Compton, and the whole energy, like the love, like you could feel it was like a Pac in the room, like a Nipsey Hussle, you know what I'm saying? Like having that glow kind of thing where the community just embraces you, and then somebody like Kendrick, his first performance coming out wasn't like some like bar in the cut. Maybe it was, I don't know, but I know for a fact the biggest one that I seen him come out to the world was Coachella. Just like his debut, which is fucking ridiculous. Then you take it to another step, like if you want to bring it back like up north, so many people out of there, the Dave East, the Ace Boogies, the Tories.
Dave East goes hard.
Yeah, the Lil Yachtys. I mean, there's just so many different ones. So it's like how you rep your region. Even going back, like I think like YG was dope too. He might not be as like up as, but like there's people that make hits like Tyga. They be like, Tyga? Like Soulja Boy is like, yeah, nigga, like Tyga started a long time ago. And, I mean, still, comes out hit after hit. So, and, maybe the Kardashian thing was kind of cool too, but,
right.
My whole thing is just like who I think is making an impact. Who I got my eyes on right now, per se, would be like, I like the kid Lil Roi. I think it's the kid Laroi. I just found him. He's like coming out of, Juice WRLD, RP the late, RP Mac, RP Nipsey. There was one more. RPX. That's who I'm thinking.
Legend.
Yeah. So
that was the Tupac of our generation. Well, at least I think.
Yeah. I mean, man. He definitely had the very poetic, like he definitely like I said, he had that glow. Not everybody's got the glow. So once you have it, it's like, it's hard that they say all the good ones got to go, but it's like that what comes with having the glow sometimes. You inspire the world, and then you depart, and however you want to take it, but it's that's the beauty of that. But my thing, I think, like, coming out, like, Juice WRLD's camp's really making some noise for me, like the Lil T Meccas, the G Herbos, Lil Bibby. But this kid, the kid Lil Rye or whatever it is, really dope concept coming out. Also, the Atlanta scene, I feel like my gang, like Umi the Goat right now is doing numbers. You should check her out. Ola, like really our whole playlist academy, TheYungDragon, High Wavy, Saint Six, Loverboy, Sunday, Blesco. Those are all names you probably don't know, but
I'm about to check them
yeah,
out. Shit.
it's going hard. Like, I think, I've watched a lot of people come, you know, what it seemed like just maybe 2-3 years. It seemed like it's coming overnight, but it's been like 2-3 years when I look back on it, and how, we've been able to make an impact and, build a small following. Like people like Father, I really like him. You know what I'm saying?
He slapped real quick.
Yeah, he came out, boomed, and then, one did that deal with, like, Turner Broadcasting, and now he's in, like, I believe they're all, like, their whole camp's, like, London based and stuff like that. So yeah, like, kind of looking at it, I think going back to what I was saying, where I feel like I find a lot of people be like, oh, you fell off. Like, I'd rather be the success. Like, there's one thing, like, not everybody could be the Migos. It's 3 of those motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So they got to be in the public eye. Yeah, or the Drake.
Be alive for a decade.
Exactly.
I'm not alive, but hot in the industry.
Yeah.
Fuck,
so
man.
For me, it's like not everybody can hit that. But if you could come out and do Adele numbers and just go ghost, or be a Bruno Mars, you know what I'm saying? Like 24 karat gold, like holy shit. You know what I'm saying? You come out, you slap, and then you just disappear. It's like, just imagine what he's doing in Cali right now. You know what I'm saying? You just disappear. You're like, what? Like, I'm not trying to be on TMZ or Frank Ocean or Tyler Creator.
Oh,
awesome.
Shit. That was dope.
Yeah, right. Thank you. But no, like, honestly, yeah, like I think that's the real success. Like Sampa, or 070 Shake. You get the features on the nice. You get on the Kanye's, you get on the Beyonce albums, whatever the case is, and then you just do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be in the now. You don't, like, success isn't about how many motherfuckers got your name in their mouth. It's more about, like,
what did you do?
What did you do? What can they show for? And then also, like, who benefited from it? What value, like I said earlier, did you bring? And I get a lot of value out of those people, and they're not always in the public eye. And I think the more exclusive you are, which makes it even, the price goes up, which makes things a lot more interesting as you start to cross over into quote unquote industry lane. So yeah, that's the beauty of it. That's how I'm looking at it from music. I love making music, and I think I made a conscious decision with me and my team where I think we realized that it's not about the fame or whatever. It's about actually, like, digging deep and, like, getting into a space where I shared a part of myself with you, and I know that you found a connection with it. And, whenever you're down or whatever case is, when you're hitting that block or that point, you then realize, like, okay, I got this song or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think I'd rather touch, like, 10,000 people for my whole life and it means something than, just have a whole bunch of whatever.
Million random people.
Yeah, random.
I feel that.
Yeah.
So speaking of touching people, man, what are some goals that we can look forward to seeing from you coming 2020, coming however the fuck, as far as fashion, as far as collaborations, as far as everything that you plan to do? What are some of the goals that, because you talked about you'd like to do, like, short-term goals and long-term goals. So what are some of those?
Well, right now it's honestly just getting FTB off. So when I first launch, it'll be like the basic logo, and you'll be able to get accessories, like anywhere from, like, bands, maybe pins, hoodies, shirts, little basics like that. But more so, my first project, I'm really doing a collaboration with people that inspire me. So, for example, first one I'll be dropping is a Steve Jobs project.
Wow.
I think, like, I'm gonna pretty much be just kind of curating the logo with people that I feel inspired me, or I think inspired the world in a very big standpoint, which was really cool to me. Coming out like that, I have some pretty good artists. Working with some people on SCAD. I have another line I'm looking at, but it's probably gonna be down the line where I'm experimenting right now. I'm trying to learn how to sew, and
you said SCAD.
Yeah, got some.
Shit, we're having someone on from SCAD in a couple days.
Okay.
She also is, like, a fashion designer, and she has, like, a YouTube channel too.
Each other.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, there's a couple that I know from SCAD, but yeah, man, definitely keep me in the loop. But for sure, like, just working that. I'm trying to learn how to sew and, like, get more involved with cuts and maybe the more detailed side. And once I start kind of figuring myself out with that, I'll drop IRL, which stands for in real life. And FTB, by the way, stands for forget the box. I like
forget the box.
I like the three letter thing. It works for me. Also, look further on, I'm trying to do my real estate course. That's a goal I have, like getting my real estate license. And people say I'd be good for it. I think I love housing, and I have a love for architecture. So, trying to boost that, have another stream of residual right there. And building credit this year is another goal.
Oh, building credit?
Building credit to the max. I think it's broken down where, you either have credit, you have liquid assets, or you have a trade that can get you either both.
Right.
So, if you keep those three things kind of like balanced across your mental, you'll probably be straight off. And the last thing, like I'm really like trying to work hard so when this Tesla Cybertruck drops, I can pull up next year.
Oh shit! I forgot about
Stun
that.
on these hoes.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
it's weird. I think they could have made it better, low key.
Yeah, I think I like the fact that it's so ugly that like I've been on that lately. I don't know why. Like I go to a sneaker store and I'll buy like New Balances and shit. They just look hideous, and I'm just like, fuck swag. I'm on my Ian Connor. People like I see somebody else and I'm like, I know you bid it from me. I ain't mad at you. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a trendsetter. You got to go against the grain sometimes. JK.
Hell yeah, man. So believe it or not, we've been going for almost about an hour, bro.
Cool, bro.
So I just want to go ahead and let you know, like the people who are coming to watch this, the people that are coming to listen and be inspired, they support you. They support your work. They back you, and they want to get involved. They want to reach out. So if you just want to take a moment, shout out all your Instagram pages, shout out any landing pages, websites, anything that you may have.
Okay.
That, you said you're involved with, certain artists that you manage. If you want to shout them out, this is your chance, man, to allow people to get involved, but ultimately allow them to dig deeper into
see what the Rizzo hype is about.
Rizzo hype.
My Instagram is Rizzo the Manager, so that's RIZZO the THE, not DA manager. I'll let you figure that one out. I manage an artist by the name of TheYungDragon. That's THEYUNG Dragon. Shout out, like I said, I Am Animal, our producer. You can find all of those linked vicariously through all of our pages. Be on the lookout for FTB. I'll be dropping that page soon. And yeah, like Umi the Goat, like I said, High Wavy. Umi the Goat, that's UMITHAGOAT. High Wavy, HIGHY, Wavy. Saint Six, Lover Boy. You'll find all us. Just look up Playlist Academy. I really support them. That's like pretty much who I work with the closest. Fashion designs. I think it's called Launders Workshop Corp. Like Offset just dropped it the other day. You got to look on Offset's page. I'm probably going to be trying to reach out to them here shortly. Just a couple. It's a lot of different things, but that's my goal. And yeah, man, I'm here for y'all. If y'all feel free to hit me up whenever. If you got any questions, if you want to collab, you got a clothing line that you want me to try some shit out. Shouts out 12 Factory. They're over there in Doorville. Good place where you can go get some like photos. They got good backdrops.
Hell yeah.
Really dope places where I'll be shooting a lot of my stuff here in the upcoming months to come to pass. So yeah, man.
Hey man, I just want to go ahead and really thank you for your time.
Sure, bro.
It's been amazing. I know everyone has really benefited from the knowledge, the experience, and ultimately been inspired.
Appreciate you.
Hell yeah, man. I'm Sharp El Milan. Today we got
Rizzo the Manager.
This has been a time shared. Thank you so much.
Later, bro.